Many scientists are seen in the seminar, where it is told that it is becoming difficult to stabilize the life on Earth. It means that Earth is devastating. A new planet is under a research to save the humanity. The planet of which climate is like the Earth, where human life may exist, human beings may survive. Scientists' search is over in 2063. Now they had found out that planet far from the Earth, of which climate is similar to Earth. In the seminar, the image of that planet was being displayed on the screen, and the scientists were thinking to begin a good human life there. And the scientists reveal for this mission that they decide to start the colonization there, sending a human group. This group will be the second generation of the human being, because 86 years will be passed to reach that planet from Earth. A generation is ended during this time. During this 86 years, colonized people will regenerate the third generation. Reaching that planet, they take a new start of human life there. All members of these colonized humanity will bring into life by genomes. As a result, the humans will be very intelligent, sharp, and smart, and these children will be trained for a mission in a specific environment. Later, those people will be completely ready to leave the Earth. It was all being discussed in that seminar. In the next scene, a man named Richard shown in a facility where they had created the colonized human in the laboratory according to plan. They were total 29 children who don't used to meet their real parents. Only the in charge of this facility named Richard used to encounter those children, and all children are excited as Richard enters the facility because he was only one with whom those kids were attached with him emotionally. He meets the kids on their rest time at night, and a kid named Zach tells him, "I am feeling fear." Richard says to him on it, "Nothing will happen. We are all saved here." Next day, Richard meets Mission in charge, who suggests him that you should go on mission for the protection of Mission and these kids. After this, a flight deck is seen, which was taking Richard and the colonized humans to the space from Earth. Richard catches the last glimpse of Earth from his spaceship because he knew that he will never return back now. 2 years later, it is seen those kids have grown up and they still in the spaceship. They are being told about the production of the next generation, which they had to carry out at the age of 24 years old. They were spending a robotic life in the spaceship. They were offered a blue drink to take it in every morning, and it was given to control their emotions and sentiments. They used to listen to music for entertainment at a specific time. Accomplishing their task, they used to have a rest. They were dexterous in their own areas. There was every professional as doctors, scientists, and the engineers. One member of spaceship named Selah is also seen, who expresses to Richard in a meeting that, "I think that there is no specialty in people's life living here." Then, Richard shows Selah the photo of her grandparents, and he tells, "It was very essential to travel by spaceship in order to secure the future." Christopher hears a strange noise in the spaceship at night. He ignores it. Next day, Christopher is in his botany lab. He used to control the plant and the food for the spaceship. He discovers that there are very mysterious chemicals on his plant's surface, about which he never researched. He also asks about from his leader, Richard. So, Richard ignores his words, and he does not get an idea about this chemical even after searching for it. Then he suspects that this chemical is perhaps being kept secret from those people. With the help of his friend Zach, he gets the information about that chemical, hacking the computer of spaceship, where they come to know that blue liquid which they are taking as acid, that is such a chemical which controls their desires and sentiments. Next morning, they both don't use this liquid, and they also share this information with their other friend. Now, Christopher says to Richard, meeting with him, that you have told a lie to use. He also talks about a compartment here. Then Richard tells him about a special mission. He tells that chamber is for the third generation. After this, Richard sends message on Earth. He asks from them, should the ship member be told about the mission, so those children may rely. It is seen in the next scene that Christopher is interested in Selah. Before Christopher's confession, his friend Jack expresses his feelings to her. Then Richard stops him to tease Selah coming there. Then Jack and Christopher, who were friends, are seen fighting in the spaceship, and these were the side effects of not taking that liquid. Now they both move to an observation room. There were also other members, and they tell Jack and Christopher that they are spending a life here like the aliens. Selah moves to the office of Richard here, and she shows him the dead plants of the earth. Jack glimpses both of them together. And he also observes that Richard places his hand on the shoulder of Selah. Seeing it, Jack becomes jealous. But he was also unaware about his own feelings. Richard knows here that their transmitter has gone out of order, and they will have to mend this system. For doing this, Jack accompanies him, while all other are engaged in their own pursuits. Then it is seen that Jack glimpses Selah while working. He goes near here. He touches her, but Richard forbids him coming there. So he leaves that place. Richard knows here that Christopher and Jack are not taking the blue liquid. Richard explains them that you should not have done it. That liquid used to control those emotions which are developing in Zach now. After this, Richard takes Christopher in the space to repair the transmitter, and the remaining members are on their former seats in the spaceship. But there was no Jack. When Christopher is repairing system here, then system begins to make a noise once again. Then all observe that control center has caught fire. Richard had burnt in it, and Christopher hardly takes him inside. Now their connection had failed with Earth. Richard was also no more now. The system is rebooted here, and their all images, videos, and messages are formatted. Now they need a new leader. Jack expresses, "I should be on the leader seat." Now Jack was feeling jealousy from Christopher here. In spite of it, he congratulates him. Because Christopher was leader now on, he says that we all have to repair this system collaboratively, and we have to contact with Earth after repairing the transmitter. They were also knowing about this, along with knowing all the malfunctioning. What had eventually happened with Richard, because they were not confirmed that Richard has been killed by an alien or he burnt in the fire. They were struggling as their device data may be recovered again, but they were not succeeded to do it yet. Now, Selah moves to the office of Richard, and she glimpses the photos of the parents of her spaceship members. Meanwhile, Christopher is also approached there, and Selah tells him that Richard had informed me about my family. Then Christopher asks him, "What are you doing here?" Then Selah tells him that I am here to delete the photos of my parents. Then they think parents are most important in their lives. Selah tells him here, "I feel bitter loneliness." Christopher asks her, "Why is it so?" "There are many members." She replies on it, "I still feel loneliness." Now Christopher moves to kitchen while searching his other members, where all members were repairing the refrigerator as being a unit, so they may protect food from spoiling. Afterwards, it is seen that Jack was feeling ill for Christopher, so he also turns his friend against Christopher, and he forbids all to take that blue liquid. Jack unites some members with him, and they begin to act in a wrong way together. It means, on saying of Jack and not taking that blue liquid, they also begin to fight with one another. Then Christopher says to them, calling into a room, that we will have to stop this fight. We have to obey the rules to stay here and for the accomplishment of the task. But Jack violates him, and he says that we have to spend a life on free will. Christopher also reveals to them about that mission, which had been informed to him by Richard. Jack says, "We have to be eaten by the aliens, so why do we not spend our life?" Then other girl says that there is no alien and Richard has not been killed by any alien. We should rather investigate after repairing our system. How did Richard die? Now Jack and his team do not follow Christopher, but there were some obedient members of Christopher who agrees with him. Then they move to that room, feeling fear. Where had Richard died? Where they had thought, there are the aliens in their ship. Meantime, Jack and his team also reach there, and they react as such as they have been harmed by the aliens. Then they hurriedly leave that room. But the observable fact was this here, that Christopher had come out of that room late. He tells his friends coming outside that he has got the main part of device at this place, through which they could repair the device. It is known here through the data recovering that it was Jack who had killed Richard. He had increased the temperature of the system. Due to this, he burnt to die. This is the cause that Jack dramatized that there are aliens in that room, so no one may know about the reality not visiting there. So they decide that they will not take any action right now. Selah hides that device in her possession. Now both Selah and Christopher were talking about Jack, that what they should do with Jack now. In Selah's room, she and Christopher spend time with each other. After it, Jack awakens them coming there, and he tells that we have arranged a part in Cantina. Then Jack tells everyone coming there that I am the new chief of this place. Christopher gets furious on it, and he also shows Jack's images and videos to his group members. Now all begin to feel fear from Jack here. Jack says, "I agree that there is no alien in that room, but I also accept that there was an alien in Richard, who has transferred his alien to any other now." Jack says to all, "We should kill that alien after searching him." Then he calls a man an alien while talking. He says about that member, "He is an alien." so all begin to chase him with the aim to kill him, whereas Christopher goes to save him, but all his members had killed before he reached there. Now it is seen that Sela and Christopher were planning to stop Jack, but their third member tells that we cannot stop him, because it is not easy to stop them because they had knowledge about that chamber of weapons. Sela reveals here, I also perhaps have knowledge. Where are the weapons? She tells Christopher about a chamber, where Christopher goes in its search, but Jack grabs all weapons before Christopher reaches there, and Jack's members reach there to kill Sela and Christopher. But Sela says, coming outside, I need to talk with Jack on important matter. She tells, actually, I have to be a member of Jack's group. Meanwhile, Christopher and his other friend also reach there. One of the partners of Jack kills another friend of Christopher. When the other is going to end Christopher, he escapes from there. He hides himself into a cabin, moving into his botany lab. Jack also fires a gun bullet at him, but it was not a cabin, but a tunnel. Passing through, he had entered into another chamber. He finds Sela here, but Jack's other reaming friends also approach there to kill Christopher. Then they begin to search any weapon there to rescue them. Christopher and Sela move to the space room while running. Christopher instructs Sela put on a spacesuit as soon as possible, and he himself also wears the spacesuit. He blocks the window airlock, adding some stuffs. As Jack comes there, he fires his gun at that door. Now Jack was going to fall out in the space with the opening of the window. Now Sela and Christopher had put on the spacesuit, so they were not falling outside. Then Jack soon catches Sela, and he tries to close the door with her help. Now Christopher was trying to throw Jack out of the ship coming there. Then Jack throws Christopher into the space, applying his force. Before he locks the spaceship's door, Sela throws Jack outside, pushing him with his feet. But Sela does not close the door of spaceship, but she rather waits for Christopher, because she was thinking as Christopher will surely return back. Then Christopher is really come back. Jack had not worn the spacesuit, so he had lost somewhere in the space. Then Christopher and Sela tell the members of Jack getting in that he is no more. So they all throw the weapons. Then they again start the event of voting, and they are thought be elected again, and Christopher becomes the leader among them. All people had started to act as per their routine. Meanwhile, a daughter of Sela and Christopher comes into life. Many years later, the interior of spaceship is shown, where many kids were playing in that ship. It means that third generation had generated, and the time of 86 years had completed now, and they reached their assigned planet. That generation was very happy to see their destination, because they had spent their whole life in traveling, and they were looking at their planet through their ship's window before they reach it. The movie also completes on this scene, showing this site. Thanks for watching.